racing fan, thank you for tuning in Between the Slicks live right here on Monday Morning Racer. Also, as well, the Competition Plus audience, and in addition, the newest audience seeing streamed to that platform and their page, the Drag Racing Connection. Welcome to each and every one of you. I'm Lee Craft, the Monday Morning Racer. This is Between the Slicks, where, well, we talk about it all between the slicks on drag racing, from pros to Southeast Gasser Association, funny car chaos, to even the sportsman divisions. Yes, tonight we're going to be chatting with someone from the sportsman ranks in the A-Fuel Dragster configuration, top alcohol dragster, Madison Payne. We will be chatting with her in just about 30 minutes or so right here on Between the Slicks. I have been looking forward to chatting with this young lady. Actually tried to get her on right after her win over Tony Stewart at the fall edition of the Las Vegas national event, the Nevada Nationals, and was not able to get her on. Then I asked, going to Pomona, wasn't able to get her on, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get my Southeast Gasser Association championship interviews in. By the way, last week we spoke with the last champion that I needed to talk to, Rick Varner, the champion of Superstock in the Southeast Gasser Association for 2022. You can hear from all of the Southeast Gasser Association champions on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel, Between the Slicks. We talked to Leslie Horn, Colby Welch, Tim Hall, and Rick Varner, so you can hear from them. Got that out of the way, got the PRI interviews out of the way, and I reached out and I'm like, all right, are you available now? And she said she was. Now we're good to go. We're going to have her on hopefully tonight. Madison Payne will be chatting with her. I am looking forward to it. Oh, by the way, I'll remind you at the end of the show, don't go nowhere, but at 8 p.m., which is already past, it's 4 minutes past, this was scheduled to go live. You can see it after the show. Go after the show to the Funny Car Chaos official YouTube page. And yes, I finally got it out. I'm so glad that Chris Graves has been so gracious to give me the time that he's gave me, but it's out. You can see the full event recap from the championship finals that kicked off the Stampede of Speed down there at the Texas Motorplex. So you can check that out after the show. Go by, hit the like button. Hey, say in the comments section that Between the Slicks Monday Morning Racer brought me over here. Thank you all for coming in and watching. Hit the like button, hit the share button. That is a big help to me, the channel, the show. Drag Racing Central says a lot to talk about today. Well, Drag Racing Central, feel free to put in the comments section what you're talking about, and put in the comments section, each and every one of you watching, what you would like to talk about out there in drag racing news and in the drag racing world. Darren Williams Jr., or AKA American Hot Rod Entertainment, or AKA Assistant Editor for CompetitionPlus.com, he put out a great piece here recently. I've still got it loaded up from Tuesday's night show. We're going to play it now and remind you to go over there and check it out when you get an opportunity. Darren has done a great job for a while now on diving into history pieces, especially the 80s, early 90s in drag racing, and bringing out great stories from that time period. And he did it once again concerning Eddie Hill. This clip right now.
In the final round, which was ran in complete darkness, Hill would square off against the man who owned him during the summer, Joe Amato. Amato had run as quick as a 5 flat during the first round of eliminations, but in the final round, he was no match for the Super Shops Dragster, as Eddie Hill would dip into the Twilight Zone this time and rewrite the record books once again.
And Eddie Hill, the quickest lap time in history, 4.93 seconds. Fuzzy Carter celebrates. The entire starting line has gone crazy. The whole crowd is cheering the Texan, Eddie Hill.
Fuzzy Carter's reaction said it all, as Eddie Hill would put an exclamation point on his whirlwind of a weekend by shattering that lapse time record by a full 0.06 of a second with an unthinkable 4.93 second run. However, Hill's backbreaking run in the final round would actually be too quick to back up for the record, meaning his 4.99 from the semifinals would officially stand as the new elapsed time mark.
All right, Darren, with a great piece. You've got to go check it all out there on Competition Plus TV. That is the YouTube side of competitionplus.com. A great piece for you to watch. He does a stellar job on those. And that's not the only piece out there. When you swing by Competition Plus TV, their YouTube channel, that you need to check out, Bobby Bennett put together a story with Lyle Barnett. Lyle Barnett's story is truly miraculous. What he went through, what he's overcome, and what he's been able to accomplish at this point here in a short amount of time to us to this day. But it was a long road to recovery and to be back proverbially on top. You can see the full story on Competition Plus, the YouTube channel, but here is a snippet.
The Lyle Barnett on September the 23rd of 2015 was 10 foot tall, bulletproof. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was racing Radio versus the World, which is the pinnacle. It's like that's top fuel of small tire outlaw drag racing.
And now it is time for Lyle Barnett. He's coming up here on the right-hand side of the racetrack. Both cars off the starting line strong, and look at Hancock pulling to a 3.9. Oh, man, look at the fire right side. Lyle Barnett is in massive trouble. Barnett's car completely engulfed in flame, now heading across the racetrack. Huge impact with the left-hand wall. Barnett still burning down there. He is in a heap of trouble in that race car, trying to get it stopped. Oh, boy, please remain where you are. Barnett's in trouble.
There was a time, probably 20 seconds into that I knew for a fact I was dead. I'd accepted the fact that I was going to die in a race car, and it was just a matter of how long it was going to take for me to die. I'm a new dad, which is number one on that list. I'm a U.S. Nationals champ, and my wife would kill me, but it rides a close second to being married to my wife. So I didn't say that for real, babe. I didn't mean it, but I did.
Dang, you forgot your most precious victory of all.
What's that?
Life.
Oh, yeah. The Lyle Barnett that existed before I was burnt is not the Lyle Barnett that many people know today.
Lyle, we can't even comprehend the challenges you must have faced after your drag racing incident in 2015. With the weight of that Wally in your hands, talk about the courage it takes to get behind the wheel of a race car.
It doesn't have anything to do with me. The good Lord up there kept me around 5 or 6 years ago now, and I never thought I would be here, but you know, there's some good people that have gotten me to this point. My family first and foremost, and everybody that stood behind me in 2015 when I almost lost my life in South Georgia.
And there was a time there where I wasn't going to make it. There was a time there that I had a chance. There was a time there that I was going to spend the rest of my life on a vent. And then there was a time when they realized that miracles had happened in that hospital, and I went from, you know, near death to fully functioning and healthy lungs. One foot in front of the other.
You only got one trophy at the end of the racetrack. Chris Thorne, left. Lyle Barnett, right.
No steps back. I don't care what hits you, what hurdles you come across, what storms is what we called them in the hospital. I don't care what storms you encounter. It's one foot in front of the other moving forward.
Well, you saw it there. It said it premieres January 18th. It's January 19th now, so you can watch that on Competition Plus, the YouTube channel. Check it out after the show right here on Monday Morning Racer, Between the Slicks. You definitely want to watch it, and also watch Darren's piece on Eddie Hill. And by the way, go by the Funny Car Chaos YouTube page before or after all of that and see the full event recap from the Stampede of Speed the championship finals down there at the Texas Motorplex. Feel free, chime in. Would love to hear what you want to talk about in drag racing, as we will go into drag racing news here in just a few moments and see what's up out there in the world of drag racing. Billy Lawrence, hey man, hope you're doing well. I'm sure you're getting ready for a wonderful drag racing season upcoming soon. Competition Plus chimes in and says, good evening. Good evening to Competition Plus as a whole. Drag Racing Central, the new Saturday deal, whatever we're calling it, as I know it as the NPK Grade 8 knockoff. I think you're referring to what the NHRA announced in like a race within a race, like every weekend. Was that it? I haven't dived into that much. I saw a blurb of it. I had a busy day, but feel free in the comment section to explain it out. Maybe I'll give my opinion on what you all are speaking on from what I get in the comment section as we take a break, and we will go into drag racing news coming up shortly here on Between the Slicks.
Power-Built Tools exemplifies innovation in the tool industry. From hand tools, power tools, and even tool storage. Check out powerbuilt.com for Power-Built Tools. And remember, use promo code MMR15 for 15% off at purchase.
In drag news. All right. I think one of the coolest guys in all of drag racing is going to be back in a Top Fuel dragster. That is Mr. Larry Dixon Jr. He's going to be back in a Top Fuel dragster, back to somewhere that he is definitely used to drag racing. And sadly, no, it's not the States, him in a car, even though he did the ownership thing with the team there at the U.S. Nationals, Will Smith in the car. He is going to be in the Team Rapsada, I think that's how you say it, down under in Australia. He is going to be piloting their Top Fuel dragster. He has done this many times. The last time in which he did it was 2002. He is going to be down there for the fourth event of the Burson Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship, January 27th through the 28th. So Larry Dixon will be in, as they affectionately call it, the C car, competing in a Top Fuel dragster. Always good when you see honestly, a legend of a sport come back and participate. And it's wonderful that drag racing is a sport in which we can have legends come back well on in advanced age. Not saying that Larry is advanced in age. Not saying that. But his career isn't done. And I think there's definitely hope of, even in the States, it happening again. I certainly would love to see that. But Australian fans get to see a Top Fuel Nitro legend compete down under once again. Hey, they are the lucky fan base this time around. So Larry Dixon Jr. back in a Top Fuel dragster. That is cool for sure. Moving right along, staying concerning Top Fuel, well, there is a new player in town. Mark, I believe it's Chirac. I have not heard it pronounced. Forms Chirac Motorsports, which acquired the Top Fuel side of the Terry Haddock Racing operation. So they're going to go Top Fuel Racing in 2023 with a limited schedule. The driver will be the young lady right there with red and black hair, Chirac. She's got top dragster experience, has been to Frank Hawley in that driving school there. Here's an outstanding fact. She is 4'11" and 85 pounds. She is a little thing, but wants to go Top Fuel drag racing and has the experience to do it. And we know from being drag racing fans that the ladies can certainly get it done. But there's a new team out there looking to do a limited schedule in 2023, but certainly compete bigger and better in 2024. So that's always good to hear that we have new people coming into the sport and throwing their money in. We're going to see new, fresh faces and characters out there in drag racing. That is a good thing. Well, we got in the comments section some information on what was announced. Drag Racing Central says it's a semi-finalists from the previous race that race in a shootout style race on Saturdays. Winner gets money and countdown points. Okay. Now Colton, he chimes in, introducing the Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty NHRA Challenge. The special challenge will feature the similar finalists from the previous race matching up during qualifying for an additional purse and bonus points across all 4 pro categories during the regular season. All right. That's interesting. That's what I saw. I didn't get to dive into it, but thank you guys for filling us in here on Drag Racing News and participating in the show. By the way, if we ever do Drag Racing News and you know something's out there and it was announced and I don't mention it, look, drag racing is very diverse and it's very wide and deep. Go ahead, chime in, let us know. But great description from Drag Racing Central and Colton there. Now, I think there are many positives to this, but there is one aspect that I personally don't like seeing this up front. Granted, even though I don't like it, I think this is an overall net positive for NHRA drag racing at the Camping World level. First of all, Mission Foods, they are saying, hey, we're going to throw money into another program. I think that's cool. Anytime you've got a partner that has invested in drag racing like they did with Vance and Hines and they want to invest more, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not going to turn them away. I think that kind of goes back to what happened with, you've got the situation there with ProMod. I mean, you've got someone throwing their money out and they're like, hey, we want to do this and, go with it. They're throwing the money up. They're putting the program out there. Cool. All right. I think that is good that you have marketing partners saying, hey, NHRA drag racing is worthwhile for me to put my marketing dollars towards. That is a good thing. I think it's a good sign overall for drag racing, NHRA Camping World drag racing in particular. Also, I think that you have the semifinalists from the previous race matching up during qualifying, kind of coming back, this additional purse. You're able to, in a distinct way, go back to the previous event, bring it to the current event. You kind of get an idea of a continual theme being carried on through qualifying into race day. I think there is also the opportunity for extra content here, just literally extra content on social media, a race within a race type of situation from a race, who wins the extra money and the points. It goes out on YouTube. It's its own video. It's a hype up video for what's coming Sunday. Hey, go get your tickets. Come on out. This is there's a lot of ways in which this can be used as content and be spun and be used as an advantage on a race winner. And the bonus points. That's why I don't like that. I just be about the money. I'm fine with that. Just be about the money. And if it happens in the regular season, so what about the points? Just be about the money. I think people can get excited about just the money. They definitely do that with the other races within a races, like the Pet Boys, call-outs, and things of that nature. So just be about the money. I don't think they need the points involved. They are, though, fine. Overall, net positive. Net positive. Darren Williams Jr. says, really cool. Larry Dixon is one of my favorite top fuel drivers. Loved the Miller Lite days. It is cool to see Larry back in a car, and Larry's a cool dude. Larry is one of those guys that he has had so much success in the sport. He's had so much success in the sport that he's somebody that if he wanted to, he didn't have to talk to you. He didn't have to interact with you. Didn't have to give you the time of day. But Larry does. Larry is a cool dude. And from driving his Chevy 2 to the drag and drive events to a top fuel dragster, he's just a cool dude. And he'll also be honest with you and tell you like it is. And I hope there's much more success for Larry Dixon shortly and in the future, though, for his top fuel operation here and wherever he may go drive, and drag and drive itself as well. So, yes, that is cool to see, Darren. Back to the comment section. Going bracket racing. Sup, MMR? Well, guys, I hope you're doing well. And, folks, if you're not following Going Bracket Racing on Facebook and have not subscribed to them on YouTube, do so. They've got some great information on, well, bracket racing, hence the name Going Bracket Racing. They're bracket racers themselves. And they regularly talk to pertinent, relative, on-time guests in the world of bracket racing. So check them out. Subscribe to their channel. All right, so we've had Dave. Dave W. has chimed in. He has a YouTube channel as well, as you can see from the icon. Go subscribe to him. It's a great concept, but there are so many questions. What if one of the semifinalists skips the next event? What if one or both of the sessions are rained out? Big questions, and I think the answer to some of those, if they weren't spelled out in the article, which I haven't read, and I'm going to keep going through the comments that people have posted, but I don't think we need all the answers quite yet. It might be a wait till you get there and we figure it out. I understand it's nice to have all the answers, but it might have been best timing for this to be rolled out now within a lull in news, usually as it is in the off season, and people are under wraps. We're waiting for testing, things of that nature. But overall, cool concept. I'm glad they're doing it. A little bit more hype during qualifying and over the race weekend. Drag Racing Central says that WFO Joe Costello said if someone is missing, they will go to round 2, the second round loser with the best ET. All right, very cool. That's how they're going to handle it and put it in. And Dave W., who gets the money? Just the winner, all 4 drivers, how much extra? I would assume the winner, kind of like Drag Racing Central says, but it might be a little bit of everybody. Who knows? I don't know. I'll have to read the article. And if the article doesn't state, I would think that, yes, the winner would get the money for sure. Darren Williams Jr. says, bonus points toward a championship within qualifying, but no bonus points for winning the actual race. I don't know. Oh, Drag and Drive. Guys, Michael Narks, the Narks Effect. Drag and Drive aficionado. Go subscribe to his channel, and you will be up to speed on everything drag and drive. Like everything. Drag and drive, all 28 events like this year, from street and meet to hot rod drag week to Rocky Mountain drag week, all of it. You need to subscribe to Drag and Drive on YouTube. Follow him on Facebook because, look, he will keep you up to date on everything drag and drive. And drag and drive drag racing is such a cool sector of drag racing. Let me go to Mike here. Mike, good evening. MMR, as released last week, a new class for junior dragsters at XRP Raceway in Texas. That's like the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Heads up, 330 racing, six race series, all at XRP. Mike, man, that's very cool. You know, I did junior dragsters, and all we had was bracket racing, and always kind of wanted to do some heads up things with the junior dragster. I love what the PDRA does with their juniors. Like, you got to show up and qualify in the PDRA. It's very interesting. You're not guaranteed a race, even with a junior. That's cool. That in that area of Texas, that XRP Raceway, those kids in juniors are going to get to do exactly that. Keep up the good work, Mike. Dave W. says, so your countdown reset is 2,000 points, but you earned 13 mission points. You start the countdown with 2,013 points. Yeah, no clue. No clue. Don't make sense to me, but we'll see how it all works out. Maybe there's an announcement to come that, hey, There's points coming else somewhere too. I don't know. Alan Boykin, I think IHRA and WDRA has something up their sleeves to hurt NHRA. I don't know if hurt is the right word. I think compete, certainly. If anything, though, if the IHRA and WDRA don't some way have a frenemy relationship, have a cooperative competition type of situation, I think who gets stronger in all of this is the NHRA overall. But I think the IHRA is making strides. They're making announcements. Tracks are joining. They've got good programs for sportsman racers coming out. And the WDRA seems to be doing very much akin things as well. It's going to be interesting as we go through this year and you have, well, let's say we're 6 months into the race season. We're 6 months into the year. We're midways in the race season. What the chatter will be like of racing at a WDRA event, racing at an IHRA event. We know the chatter from sportsman racers at NHRA events, especially national events. So it will be interesting. I think time will tell. Hurt the NHRA, though, that's going to be tough. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, the NHRA is the body that is at the top. Just is. It's the biggest racing organization in the world. And there's more drag racing happening in the NHRA than anywhere else. And everyone else has to basically, at this point, strive to be them or do something completely different. And then the people who are doing something completely different, for example, even Funny Car Chaos, there's a couple of NHRA tracks they go to. No Prep Kings, where mostly do they go on the schedule? Look, it's NHRA sanctioned tracks. The fact is, everyone has to figure out how to be successful in a drag racing world that is dominated by the NHRA. They kind of won decades ago in some ways. Though, I think competition can be good and can be healthy. I think it will be healthy for the sport. And IHRA and WDRA can certainly have their spot in the sport as long as they play along. If they start duking it out and you create a no man's land, as it were, for the competitors, that's no good. Hopefully it doesn't come to that case at all. All right, let's continue in the comment section. Dragon Drive says, I've been devouring the GBR live streams the last few days. Hey, Casey and George do a great job, and when they talk, they're talking about it from experience because they're bracket racers themselves. Cheryl, love your shades. Hey, thanks, Cheryl. I appreciate the positive comment on the shades. I'm used to negative. All right. Dugenay, Bland, winner, and the runner-up gets money as well. Okay, cool. There's an answer on what is happening with that program. Sam, NHRA does a good job hurting themselves. I think that's true. Granted, I do see things that the NHRA is doing that is improvements overall. They continue to hire more people on like social media marketing side. That's pluses. They did attempt to listen to the racers and put Gainesville first, and it helped racers before kicking off the season. So those things are positives. I've mentioned this on my show before. One of the elements I think they've got to get away from is like momentary judgment calls and not handling that right. Like, look, if a car wasn't safe and you sent it down, but yet you sent it, you need to own up in that moment and deal with it moment by moment and move on. All right. So I think that needs to happen. But yeah, they do that. They do that. But anyone can do that. Okay, very quickly, because we do got Madison in the green room. We're going to talk with her very shortly. Alan Boykin, what do you think about no prep back at the track racing? I love it. I've been to several of those events. I have filmed them, and I see that type of drag racing. It's really getting back to what it was just like in the beginning, because you see guys coming out with car like, what is that? Is that what I think it is, with 2 turbos on it and a nitrous hit? It's like, you're nuts. And they're going out there and they're doing long, in essence, burnouts down the whole track because there's no rubber on it and they're trying to get traction. It is a good show. And it really harkens back to that day that hot rodding and drag racing was so entwined and really the same thing. Now, does it need to be done safe like anything else? Yes. And the fact of the matter is, the back of the track, no prep stuff is a safe way to mimic being on the street, and I don't want them on the street. So I'd rather them have their time at the back of a Rockingham dragway, the back of a Darlington dragway, the back of whatever dragway they're racing at. Fact of the matter is, as well, oftentimes for these locations, it's another revenue stream with a different crowd. And if the tracks use it rightly, I think they can do some cross-promoting, because the crowd that comes to a back-of-the-track no-prep event often isn't the same crowd that comes to a regular Saturday bracket race, or even like a outlaw nostalgia funny car, Night Under Fire type of program. So let's say you're doing the back-of-the-track thing, and you get some nostalgia funny car guys to make a soft hit on even a no prep type situation, if they're willing to do that. And you can be like, all right, guys, come back next week. We've got these on the other side of the track. Just do some cross promoting. I think that's the biggest thing for the tracks. It might be more of a win for them than anyone else. But yeah, I do enjoy back of the track drag racing. Let's see, very quickly. Make sure you're hitting that like button when you come in. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Michael, Mr. Narks. Thank you. Hit the like button. Dave W., did you discuss the new NHRA tech release eliminating blinders on windshields and helmets? No, I did not. I saw that. That was shared by Going Bracket Racing, even onto the Monday Morning Racer Facebook platform. Tell you what, let's talk about that a little bit later. We're going to take a break. And right after the break, we've got Miss Madison Payne on, and we are going to chat with her right after this word from Destroyer 1320.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your central console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.
Madison, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So good to finally work it out to get to chat with you. I was telling everyone when the show went live that we tried to get this right after Las Vegas, and you were busy. Tried to get this around Pomona, and you were busy. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to wait.
Yeah. I remember you tried to get it done like the day after, and I had class, and then in Pomona, so then I didn't hear from you for months.
Right. I'm just going to let it go, and we'll get back to it. And look, I think, at least for me, the first question I have concerning, your win back at the Nevada Nationals is, well, how did the midterm go? Because you're in your interview and you're like, I got a midterm on like Tuesday. So how did that go, in fact?
Oh my gosh. When I won, I was like, we have to go. And my mom was like, you can't miss the winner's circle. So I missed my flight, but it was worth it. The midterm, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Getting no sleep affected my grade a little bit. Didn't go as good as it should have, but I didn't fail it. And I got about a B on it. So I figured we could make it work. So everything worked out. It was worth it.
All right. Very cool. Midterm went okay, at least. That's good. So with mentioning school, where is school and what are you studying? What's the major and the hopes and dreams after graduating?
Yeah. So I'm in Fort Worth right now in my apartment. And I go to Texas Christian University, And
I'm sorry. Woo! That national
I know.
championship was rough, girl.
Oh, you know what? It was rough. I've been telling everybody. I transferred here this year, and I said, "Look what happened when I started going there. They really turned it around. Started doing amazing. I was taking all the credit for it. My parents and my brother and I, we actually went to the championship game because we live in California. It was so bad, so bad. Like, I think we left at the very beginning of the fourth quarter. I thought they called the game at one point for mercy when we were walking out because all the Bulldogs had their flashlights on, singing some song. I mean, it was bad. Everyone in my section was wasted. I think that's how they were trying to cope with the pain. It was really embarrassing. It was bad.
All right. So, on brighter notes, you're there. It's a great school, great area of Texas. And what are your studies?
So I'm studying business management with a minor in communications, but my major of business management, I have it's more specialized towards business consulting because that's what I want to do is business consulting.
All right.
But then communications is just a little add-on.
And business consulting in the motorsports world or any other particular industry?
No, I don't have anything specific. I just most people in my family, they own businesses. So I've kind of gotten to see what they go through. So I know a little bit about it, but I have a lot more to learn. But I just really I took a class a couple years ago on business consulting. And I really liked that you could just go in there and observe people and tell them what they're doing wrong, which I already do. I just don't get paid for it.
Yeah, you might as well get paid for something you like to do and can do and are able to do. If you do anything well, don't do it for free. There you go. So, all right. Did you have any hope of not being a drag racer? I mean, Jay Payne, Shelly Anderson, which, by the way, I was a huge Shelly Anderson fan as a kid. A huge Shelly Anderson fan. But, yeah, I mean, was there any hope? Was there ever a moment you're like, nope, I don't want to do drag racing? Or was it always like that? Or was there that moment that it just hit you?
No, I always wanted to do drag racing. And then I think there was a little bit of worriness from my parents because they let me run a couple junior dragster races and I hated it. But I told them it was like, I just want to go faster than this. It has nothing to do with racing. I love racing. So I did go-karts for a little bit, which I absolutely loved. But my dad was racing at the time and, he was winning. He was important. So that kind of took over. And then right before I turned 18, my parents were like, okay, Maddie, they didn't even actually tell me. We were at a sponsor dinner with Peak in Pomona. And they were like, oh, we heard you're going to get your super comp license in a couple weeks. And I was like, no, I'm not. My parents have been saying that forever. And then I went home. My parents were like, yeah, we were going to surprise you.
Well, that's cool. That is cool.
Yeah.
A surprise out of the bag. But, hey, you got it in. And where did you get your super comp license? What was your journey of getting these licenses, like through Frank Hawley or anyone else? What was that path like?
Well, I went through Tom Bear, which was super nice and easy. He was running it out of Fontana. So one day, because it was summertime, I just got to go out there and look at the car, and he just spoke to me about the car and the procedure and stuff. And then we went to dinner. And then the next day I licensed. I think it might have been 2 days, but I licensed and got some laps in. And then the next weekend, I got to race 2 races, a Saturday and a Sunday race in Fontana. And I remember both days I lost 4th round to Ryan Harem. And to this day, well, he hadn't been letting me live it down for a while, but then in Sonoma, I got him by a couple thou. So I haven't heard him say anything about it since, but I had to hear about that for about 2 years.
Darren Williams Jr., American Hot Rod Entertainment, and assistant editor with Competition Plus, he says this great memory concerning Shelly Anderson. Dude, when Shelly blew that tire at Pomona in the final against Rance McDaniel in 94, and she goes, I think we won. The car is junk. Bet we won. One of the best interviews. And yes, I remember that moment. That was very cool. Mm-hmm. So with that being stated, mom's background, dad successes, is there any moment with the rents, if I may say, that you're like, oh, come on, Mom. I know I need you to tell me that, but not now.
Oh, you mean like when I'm racing, things that she tells me?
Right,
Well,
right.
I love her. I love her so much. And I think now I've gotten more confident within my racing. So she doesn't, in the beginning, she would wait till the end of the day or after I lost and had some time. But now if I lose, she'll be like, you could have done this better. Come on, Maddie. She hops right on it. But it's fine in the moment. Not always my favorite thing, but I do appreciate it because I always remember what she says because it usually irritates me. So it sticks with me a little bit better.
Hey, Mom knows best. Definitely when she was as successful as she was. I'm curious, does Mom ever get behind the wheel at all? I'm sure someone would ask about that. I know we haven't seen her in like an A fuel dragster, but is there ever super comp or anything of that nature?
Yeah, well, my mom, she loves racing. She didn't want to step away, but in pro mod she broke her back, and
Ah.
it was really bad when she got in that pro mod crash to where she's fine, she's one tough cookie, but if she were to get in another serious crash like that, it would be pretty detrimental to her. But a lot of people have been asking her if she'll drive a door car, a super comp car or something because my brother and I have both been doing it. And we all kind of just laugh because she'd be good at it, but she'd break out every time. She would want to be the fastest. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to bring someone back that's so used to heads up to like,
Mhm.
okay, this is what you got to do. Drive the line, all that kind of stuff. No, just run it out.
Yeah.
Well, Madison, you mentioned juniors, and I like how you're like, okay, this isn't fast enough. I love that. Super comp. After super comp, was it straight to A fuel, or what were the steps to the A fueler?
Well, that was the same way. I wasn't really told about that directly either. So I started running super comp like the middle of one summer. I think it was 2019, maybe 2020. No, it was 2019 is when I started running super comp that summer. And I didn't run that many races because my dad, he was traveling far for racing. But whenever Tom Bear was around on the West Coast, I would race with him. So I raced a couple races and, I was having so much fun. It was really, I was getting really comfortable in the car. And we were at Indy. And this was when COVID was going on. So maybe 2020, but we were at Indy, and that was the year there were like 4 Indies. And Dwayne and my dad were always parked next to each other because they were both peak. And I was over at Dwayne's pit, and he was like, "Get in my car." I was like, "Okay." So I was sitting in his car, and he ran through the procedure, and I went back to my dad's pit. And my mom was like, "Where have you been?" I was like, "I was over at Dwayne's," but it was kind of because I love Dwayne. I bothered Dwayne all the time, even before I was running his car. And I was like, it was kind of weird. He had me get in his car and go through the procedure. And my mom was like, "Oh, yeah, Jay and I were going to tell you, if you want to get your license in that car at the end of the year, we're all for it." So that's how that kind of came about because I think Dwayne wanted to step away a little bit because he had spent so much time at the races and he has such good friends and family out there, but he's always so focused on tuning the car and racing the car that he had been looking for someone to maybe step into the seat. He didn't really know. So he kind of put me on a trial basis.
Right. Talk to me about the dynamic with Dwayne Shields' car there in Muscle Milk and go through all the partners and people you have helping you to be in that ride and be competitive. What is the business situation there?
Yeah, so we have Muscle Milk first and foremost, and then Clean Boost, NGK, Shoreline Express, BAE, and a bunch of other people are incorporated on the car and have really helped out. But as for Dwayne, it's great working with him because Dwayne and my dad were always a team because they were, like I said, sponsored by the same people. So the teams always got along. We were always like one big family even before I started running that car. So we all kind of, when I started running that car, we all kind of just it flowed and we meshed so easily that it's never been a problem. We've always kind of been a team without it being official.
By the way, I definitely do like the muscle milk products. I've gotten back in the gym and I buy that protein shake and I'm like, yes, intense vanilla.
Yeah, vanilla is the best one for sure.
But look, I have learned no matter what the company is, when it comes to protein powders or protein shakes, just stick with vanilla. You can add stuff to it, chocolate. I'm not, or any other, just vanilla. But they got a good vanilla.
Don't try any crazy flavors.
No, and stay away from the fruit punch, fitness products. Just blah, blah. So yeah, muscle milk. I like it. Good stuff. Well, I'm sure everybody's dying for us to. I'll ask Darren. Is like asking, do you actually drink muscle milk? So you work out, you use muscle milk. Like here we go on the spot. What?
I'll be honest with you guys. One of my least favorite things is working out. But I have actually tried 2 protein powders, and one of them was the muscle milk one, and it's actually a lot better. And then at the track, we always have muscle milk, so I always drink the chocolate one because it tastes like chocolate milk.
All right, there you go. I know the pit to go to now at national events and elsewhere, for sure. So everybody's wanting to know. We built up. Let's talk about Las Vegas. And first of all, going into that event, the Nevada Nationals, where were you in 2022? How had the season shaped up? What were the events before that? How competitive had you been? Had you made a final round? Were you close? What were the storylines for you going into that event?
So yeah, last season was really good, but I hadn't ran that many races. I think last year, the whole year, I ran maybe two regional races, maybe 3. And my first regional race of the year was in Phoenix. I was there with my super comp car, and I wasn't even supposed to race in February. And Dwayne got sick, and I ended up running, and I won that race. And I was number 1 qualifier, low ET, everything. So it was a great way to start my season because I had run Pomona, and I think we had lost in the semis, but I'm not really sure about that. But then we went to Phoenix and I wasn't even supposed to race and I won the race. And then I had a couple other national events and I kept losing second round during the semis, but I really wasn't racing that many events because Dwayne likes to run D1 and all those races over there. And I was on the West Coast and Texas and all those places running my super comp car. So then probably around fall time, I started running the car more thoroughly and more regularly. And I ran the weekend before Vegas, actually, I ran the Dallas National. And I lost in the finals to Jasmine Salinas. And then the next weekend, I got my first win at a national. But in Pomona, too, I went to the semi. So the car had been great and the team had been great. I just was losing good races and I really wasn't racing that much. So it's exciting this season because this season I'll be running pretty close to a full season. So that'll be my first time doing that in the alcohol car.
Oh, that is great to hear that is the case. And, you can, stay up to speed. And that definitely helps the competitiveness. I work with Doug Foley and Buddy Hole, and, they've got gaps in the schedule that they race, and they come back and they're like, yeah, that first, second lap in qualifying is almost just getting reacclimated to the speed of this top field dragster. So that definitely plays a part in it. Lauren Murphy says to you, good luck this year in NHRA Top Alcohol Dragster, Madison Payne 2023. Yes, we definitely hope you have a solid year this year. That national event, Tony Stewart is in the field. From you, and I'm sure talking with the other competitors in your class, what was the buzz, the chatter about having someone like Tony Stewart making his first NHRA competitive start?
People were either ecstatic or annoyed. There was no in between. It was like people loved Tony Stewart. They wanted to see him. And then he was racing. And then the people were like, this is the only alcohol racer that's ever gotten an interview in qualifying. And then we saw Tony the whole weekend. But But it was good for the sport because Tony is such a big name. He's someone that we all know that it made sense for them to publicize him the way that he did. But yeah, everybody, I mean, Tony was talked about on the PA more than the fuel drivers. So it was kind of funny.
And that was the dynamic that I think, again, you talk about either people were ecstatic or annoyed. And I agree. It doesn't seem like there was anything in between far as media, the fan base, whoever it was. That was the two reactions, it seemed. And I understand because, like me, I mean, girl, I'm so glad you beat him in the fight. Because I've been saying the whole time, like, definitely, I think it's great to have Tony in the sport. And I'm so glad he's taken the stance that he has. Like, he hasn't, just jumped in a top fuel car, though he can drive it. I've seen him in testing. He can drive a top fuel car. He's wanting to take steps to get it right, and I appreciate that. But I also don't want him to come in and just like right off the bat get a win. I want there to be a little bit of struggle because it is a challenge to drive any of these machines in a straight line for a drag racer. So it was cool to see him have such a good day, but yet you put a capstone on it of I'm here, by the way, and you've been out there. And I also felt it was cool because I feel like in the drag racing world, when we say Madison Payne, a lot of folks, especially before the Nevada Nationals, are going to go, who? And they shouldn't say who. They should say, oh, that girl connected with Jay Payne, Shelly Anderson, and realize who you are and where you're at. And I definitely think that helped your brand overall.
Yeah. I hadn't really spoken to Tony or anything before that race. And then after that race, he came over and told me good job and was very nice. But I actually talked to him in Pomona, and he is a really nice guy. And he's really taking the time to understand drag racing. But I was so happy I beat him. Nobody, it would just be so messed up if anybody came into the sport and won their first race. No, it's not fair. So I'm glad I finally got my first national event win because it was awesome. And, it was funny too when I won because like you and I were talking about, it's Tony Stewart. So he's a famous guy and he had probably like 200 people on the starting line on his side. And then on my side, I did have a lot of people because it's my family out there. So I had a bunch of sportsmen, racers, crew guys, all people that I love, but it didn't add up to Tony's side. So it was so funny seeing all those people and then me win. So it was really fun. And I'm happy it worked out the way it did. But as for Tony, I think he did a really good job and he's a really nice guy from my experiences with him.
Do you feel amongst your peers in that class that they feel that it was overall a beneficial weekend for the class? Because I don't believe A Fuel, Top Alcohol Dragster, Top Alcohol Funny gets enough love. Funny Car gets enough love. I just don't think they do. They're great classes to see them in action. So, yeah, do you feel like everyone's got that positive, feel-good attitude, or are they like, nah, Tony, where does it lean more, do you think?
Well, I think they all it was more of they respect Tony for taking that route and for trying that. But in the alcohol classes, we have a lot of cars and we always have a lot of new drivers. So I think a lot of the alcohol drivers, even though they appreciated Tony, taking the time to try this class, I think they wish that, from what I've heard, that NHRA specified a little bit more that Tony was running an alcohol class because he was more just Tony's in NHRA.
All right, you win. You've got the Wally. You're doing interviews. There's still a midterm lurking in the future, though. What was it like celebration-wise and media-wise and everything, you kind of have to handle as a winner in the NHRA? What was that like for, being the first time winner of a national event and, doing it over Tony, like we've been saying?
Well, I mean, I feel like I didn't really have to do all that much. I'm just an alcohol racer. So they either care about it or they really don't. They were like, okay, Top Fuel's coming up, but I'm trying to think. The only people that came up to me were a few people connected and within the sport and then National Dragster, but I love everyone at National Dragster. Like, they have genuinely supported me from the beginning. And I think it's just because I've known them my whole lives and they're actually my friends and nice people, and they do a lot for me. So I appreciate them. But as for the celebration, no celebration. Like, all of my crew guys were getting drunk at somebody's pit and I didn't even say goodbye to them. I was like, you guys, I got to catch my flight, and my flight left. The only flight they could get me was like 2 hours after my parents. So I was at the airport like 4 hours early for my flight. My flight didn't even leave till 1 a.m. And then I got in at 4 something. It was just, there was no partying. And my crew wasn't happy about it, but I was like, guys, this midterm, I have to get back. They don't care that I won. They won't let me retake it.
Right. You can't bust up with the Wally in there and be like, yep, here's my token for allowing me to miss the test. You're like, what's this?
We care about it. They don't.
Right. They don't. No. Well, I'm sure in your future there are going to be many more wins, and at a level where you're going to have a lot more media responsibility, especially beyond some little show like Between the Slicks. By the way, you mentioned 2023, many more races for you. That's cool to hear. Dave W., as anyone's going to be asking, wants to know, how long till the step to Top Fuel? Any aspirations to go to that level in the sport at all?
I don't know. The thing is tricky question. I have to think how to answer this correctly. Thanks, Dave. Here's the thing. I like Top Fuel, okay? But at the same time, my mom did Top Fuel. I've heard all the stories, and I mean, Top Fuel is so expensive, and there's so much politics behind it. And it's fun to watch. It's the fastest, it's the quickest, and I definitely think it would be fun to try, to get to experience one time at least. But I love being a sportsman racer, and I think that's some of the best racing in the sport, if not the best. So, I don't know.
All right, you navigated that question very well, very well. I like that.
I took my second.
I like how you were honest, you were open, but yet we're going to keep it within the yellow and the mustard there in this question. Very good, very good.
I've gotten in trouble before on a podcast, so I learned.
Well, look, a lot of money. There is politics involved for sure on rides and who's going to ride, who's not going to ride, and it's fascinating to me that everyone expected Megan Meyer to step up to Top Fuel, and she announces, "Hey, I'm going to step away a little bit. I'm going to be a mother." Man, great. And you got Julie Natus out there, and might not be a move to Top Fuel, it might be more of a move to Funny Car here soon. And I wish, even though Top Fuel is the kings of the sport, that there was an understanding that, man, if I'm racing in a fuel, if I'm racing an alcohol dragster, I'm pretty high level myself, and I don't have to go anywhere else, really, in my opinion, to be considered a top level drag racer, as people in your class should be considered.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, because we're a little bit slower, but we also get to run to 13:20, and I think there's a lot of exciting things in alcohol, but it doesn't always get the attention. But it's not just that we don't go fast enough. It's just more the fact that all that wants to be talked about and advertised is Top Fuel and Fuel Funny Car. And that's one of the things that I've talked with a lot of people about, is you can only make the fans as smart as you tell them. If you're only going to advertise one thing, they're only going to be there to see one thing. If you advertise a lot of things and you explain them, like I have brought so many people to the races, and I've explained the sportsman categories to them and how close it is and all the thought process behind it and the games and all that kind of stuff. And then they love it, but nobody's taking the time to explain it. They just see, oh, these slower cars, look at them. Maybe you get a wheelie. once they understand it and they don't say, hey, Top Fuel will be back in 2 hours, go grab food right now, it would be a different story.
I like how you put that. Yes, they're only going to be as educated as much as you well educate them. I agree with you. And I believe if there was more emphasis on the classes, or even, I think this would be diving deeper in cooperation, but maybe it's parking, a Top Fuel car next to an A Fuel car in some type of situation where there is, you're getting exposure to other classes because they're right next to each other. Or at least it would be interesting, like take the winner from one national event and give them a spot right near the top, and the funny car guys and even the other sportsman guys, that because you won, there's an incentive going into the next event. You get to pit next to the quote unquote big boys and get that exposure.
Yeah, nobody's gonna walk out to the gravel and the dirt to see our cars, no matter how cool they are.
Right. Most of the time, the alcohol funny car and alcohol dragster way out there for sure. Especially in at Pomona and Indy, you all seem like you're so far away. Or
they put us farther this year. Don't worry, at Indy. We were past the circle track this year, so
I know.
We're gonna be outside the fence next year.
I know. It's wow. It's so far away. So far away. Okay, so I do want to start wrapping some things up. Don't want to keep you too much longer. A Fuel, we've been talking about exposure and, getting the limelight. Mr. Shields, yourself, anyone else? I'm partnered with this group called Funny Car Chaos, and they have these races called Nitro Chaos, which Megan Meyer came out and won last year at Mocan Dragway. Curious, and you talk about any other A Fuel dragsters showing up to a Nitro Chaos race and competing.
There are a lot of things that we've talked about. My grandma, she actually, when I was home for Christmas, there's some race that they're having in Indy in April or May where it's not a race, but it's more serious. I don't know what it is, but we got to look into it because I can only miss so much school. I'm going to be honest. I get docked pretty heavily missing a class, and last semester I missed at least like 6 classes for each class. So I was having people sign me in and still didn't work. Still got marked down on attendance. So we have to see. But I know there are a lot of things that we've talked about and want to try, and I think that Dwayne and all those and the team and stuff, they like those races because it's we can take it as an opportunity to test too.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they're always fun to do, but sometimes the car's on one side of the country and those races are on the other. So it comes down to logistics and timing. But
hey, you got to figure out whatever the deal the football players get that deal. They're missing class. They're not there. Come on.
I know they are. I don't understand. I think maybe I should talk to somebody about getting TCU to sponsor me. And then I'll be like an official student athlete and they'll have to let it slide.
Bingo.
I had a football player in my class last semester who didn't even play. And he got to miss class all the time.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to have to figure it out. Good point.
You need to talk to somebody in admissions and marketing, and TCU needs to be on that car. You might not ever win a final round again, but no, I'm joking.
Yeah. I need to take the horned frog off my super comp car.
Yeah. Hey, until they're forking over some dough.
Until we turn this luck around that we have going on at the school right now. I don't know.
Right. But, you say that and we're joking about it, but I really feel that there are opportunities like that for drag race. What was it? TCU. That's not far from the Motorplex. Mm-hmm. And have some type of cooperation with the Texas Stampede of Speed and the football team be there. Their B-Cross promotion. I used to help Bobby Bodie a little bit, and I would just plead with Bobby, go talk to marketing at ASU. I mean, it would be awesome to him do a burnout and there'd be cheerleaders on the starting line or something. It'd be so cool. Yeah. There's a lot out there that can be done. So yeah, on top of making good grades, go talk to marketing. You got that mission now. You got that mission now.
Yeah.
Look, last question for you. Last question for you from American Hot Rod Entertainment. How's Uncle Randy doing?
He's doing good. He's doing good. He's making his fuel systems in California, and I don't even know. He's been tuning a lot of people's cars, top dragsters, and then a couple. I don't know. Sometimes I go to races and he's just there, and I'm like, "Who are you helping?" He gives me a name. I don't always know. I don't always know the class, but I'm like, okay. But he's doing well, and right now he's at my grandpa's shop a little bit more than he probably would like, because my dad, he has so much brand new funny car parts that have not been used. So Randy knows a bunch of people, so he's been trying to sell them for him.
All right. Well, Madison, look, last moments here with you on the show. Take the floor and just say thank you to whoever you need to say thank you to.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I have to obviously thank my parents for all they do for me and letting me go to school and race and supporting me. My grandparents, they're my biggest fans. Dwayne for giving me this opportunity, his team, Muscle Mount, Shoreline Express, BAE, a bunch of people. And I have to thank Farron.
All right. Madison, glad we finally were able to get you on. Hope 2023 is your most successful year yet. Thank you for being on Between the Slicks.
Thank you for having me.
Adios.
Bye.
The drag racing life and the RV life seem to go hand in hand like nitromethane and superchargers. And when you are traveling through the Lone Star State and you're needing work done on your RV, well, DFW RV Center is your star to contact.
Great to have Madison Payne on. Finally talk with her again. Congratulations on your first national event win out there at the Nevada Nationals at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Strip at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and doing it over Tony Stewart. Dragon Drive made a $4.99 super chat. Yes, if you want to support me and the show, you can always drop a super chat. I would greatly appreciate it if you would do that on occasion. If you enjoy the content here, if you enjoy the content, but you can't leave anything, hit the like button. Hit the like button on Facebook, wherever you're watching at, Competition Plus, the Drag Racing Connection, Monday Morning Racer Facebook page. If you're watching on Twitter, hit that little heart, retweet it. And if you are watching on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and hit the like button. Leave a comment. Help get this show out there. We just talked to Madison Payne, and last week we were talking to a champion of the Southeast Gassers Association. I think this little show has got one of the widest reaches in drag racing that there is. I don't know who we'll have next week. Not sure. I know I'm going to start working on getting on Between the Slicks, the NHRA Camping World Champions. Going to be reaching out to them. Hopefully we get many of them on. It's my hope that we get Antron Brown on. And I think to have a very interesting conversation with him that goes back to talking with him on the line at Virginia Motorsports Park Monday after the national event during testing while his car was on the line and he was not in it. That was an interesting conversation, which I think could have greater impacts for the whole drag racing world. And you'll want to hear about it. Darren Williams Jr. says, get a Heritage Series driver. We do need to talk to more of those cats in the Heritage Series world, but they're not nostalgia. They're not nostalgia. No. They're not. But American Hot Rod Entertainment, he's doing a great job chatting with them. Please be sure to go and subscribe to American Hot Rod Entertainment. Let me very quickly go over some content that you, again, need to check out. Last week's Between the Slicks, Rick Varner, the champion of Superstock for 2022 in the Southeast Gassers Association. Chatted with him. Check that show out. The championship finals from the Texas Motorplex, kicking off the Stampede of Speed. That video is finally out. I got it done, and it's on Funny Car Chaos, their YouTube channel. Go watch it and hit the like button as well. And then be sure to remember to go watch American Hot Rod Entertainment's production on Competition Plus, their YouTube channel, and then stay on Competition Plus, their YouTube channel, and watch that Lyle Barnett story as well. A lot of great drag racing content for you to consume. Thank you all for watching this 126th episode of Between the Slicks on the Monday Morning Racer platform, Competition Plus, and also the Drag Racing Connection for the first time. Good to be on that Facebook page. Dave W., $10. Can I buy a spot on the show? You want a spot on the show? Next week. Let's work it out, man. Let's work it out. Dave W. Hey, go subscribe to his channel. He does live streams with like old drag racing content, like full, like 6-hour streams in the, uncut satellite version. He's got a lot of great action on his channel in drag racing and beyond. Check out Dave W.'s YouTube channel as well. Folks, God bless and keep the pedal to the metal.
Hero Soap Company is a veteran-owned establishment that produces all-natural, essential oils-infused soap that is sold with a portion of the proceeds supporting other veteran groups. Hero Soap Company. Heroes supporting heroes. Be a hero yourself and buy a bar and let freedom clean.